Good morning, everybody. This is Phil. I'm doing a video on more poetry today. And like I have said in other videos, including the last one, and the history of my writing career, I love poetry in that I love a rhyming scheme. And I love it when it's firing on all cylinders. The consonants count, the syllable count, everything is firing off at the same time in proper order. It sounds smooth and it's kind of intriguing. Another thing I wanted to speak about, however, is the inspiration for some of the macabre poetry. Many horror authors like to write, and it has historical context. If you're a man of the world, you're very educated, um, and you've been around the world, you've seen all kinds of different people, and you're kind of selling your oats, so to speak. And I'm speaking of men in particular, okay? Born men, okay? Um, there has always been the archetype character of the siren, the one semi goddess lady that is always intriguing, sexy, mysterious, seductive. Everything is beautiful about her in her femininity, but she also gives off an air of superior strength. Um, Psychologically speaking, we can think of our mothers as having the most strength in the world, taking care of us and rearing us throughout our lives. That's not necessarily what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the mystery and mystique of, I want to say, legend, okay, of aura, okay, of many mysteries that have been told over and over again through the years. Okay, like I said, the legends, um, maybe it's a warning, okay, like for instance, what the sirens are, and they are sitting there bathing on a rock, and they're basically speaking or making beautiful music, so that the pirate captain who's riding his ship is like, wow, he's intrigued. Okay, he's mesmerized, and he is basically seduced into getting closer to find out what is that beautiful melody that is coming from. It must be a beautiful woman. And so the man of the world is selling his oats, but there's always that one mysticism, that one lady he cannot touch. Okay, with all the legend and historical accounts of that one beautiful queen. Let's say she's a native queen of some tropical island somewhere, okay? And she was the goddess to all her people. But then maybe the goddess determined by the soothsayer of the tribe, by rolling some teeth on a metal pan somewhere sometime, that he saw, oh, you must sacrifice a lot of the firstborn babies on the altar on this big pinnacle, like down in South America and Central America, what have you, historically speaking. And that goddess was from a different realm, not like the heaven we might believe in nowadays, a higher being, a higher authority that is all knowing, all powerful. And they want to, the God basically wants us to live a good life because they give us spiritual power to live a good life and live a life that lets live and let live. And there's a code. But with this mysterious goddess who seems foreign to that Western man, that Western traveler, that Western sailor, perhaps going over to the Orient, excuse me, and orienting himself and south and going to the Philippines, 500 years ago. Okay, what were they? Portuguese that basically discovered a lot of the Far East and the silk. They called it the Silk Road trade, where the shippers used to go to the Orient from the long way around Africa, from Europe down Africa and around Africa into basically the Indian Ocean, and received silk kimonos, silk cloth to make basically pants and shirts that were very expensive in Europe. Okay, those same men had the mentality of seeing the siren or being aware of her and her temptations. Okay, what about the harpy? I'm not 100% sure about the harpy, other than a beautiful sound coming from somewhere. And then when the men encounter her, she's hideous. She has fangs. She has claws. She basically wipes out the men. And we also have Medusa, okay? Greek mythology, I believe, is Medusa, where men wanting to conquer her to prove their worth, they go into her lair and they can't look at her. Many men that were going to try to kill her didn't know this. They look at her, they turn to stone. And she has a head of snakes, and her eyes glow. And as soon as they glow, when someone looked at her, you know, that person that looked at her, that man, not knowing, thinking he's going to kill this crazy woman, and oh my God, she's a monster. She might be part snake too. Wasn't she like part human up here, except for the snake's head of hair, and then her lower half was a serpent? So when I think of poetry, I think of some archetype characters like that, just from inspiration. And I try to do my own justice if I'm not going to research, let's say, a very in depth horror novel and study just on sirens alone, and then do a whole horror genre, one large novel, okay, megabiblion, a large novel on that. Sure, I'm going to do a deep dive and find out its origins and know how it basically captivated many sailors growing up and why they wanted to have adventure. And they were warned about the sirens, and they were warned about the native ladies that were alluring on the islands that they actually set foot on and set aground. And they wanted basically pagan idolatry at that time and have a soiree, an orgy, so to speak. But they were also warned, watch out for that woman that is very mysterious, very sexy, very alluring, very seductive. Okay. And what happens? More realistic. A lot of sailors going on leave in such island, they contract a venereal disease, and there's many accounts of people dying of syphilis throughout the 17 and 1800s, and their brain rotting away, and basically holes developing in their brains. They can't function anymore. And so some of these tales, okay, some of these fairy tales are part true based on those original I want to say fairy tales to warn you, okay, to let you know there is a lot of mystery out there, but you have to be warned about that. You have to be a more moral man, referring to the men of centuries ago, and you have to take care of yourself. And actually, the code, a lot when they went to a lot of islands and they set foot on other islands to either get, I want to say, food, collect fruit, what have you, maybe even shoot some game, okay, with arrows or musket ball or what have you. They would use that as a reason to basically keep their sailors under them under control. If you see a native woman, okay, you might as well kill her. If you see the natives there and they're not friendly, you might as well wipe them out, okay? Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to catch diseases. You never know if your men are going to be killed and seduced into that one chieftain's, younger daughter, okay? And there's going to be a marriage of some sort. No, maybe they're cannibals and they're sucking you in with that one seductive temptress, so to speak. There's many other words for them. So when I wrote Angel Eyes a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, the time is slipping up on me since COVID, with extra free time, that's what came to mind. And it was just off the top of my head ringing. And a lot of writers that write very well, they practice writing their dreams. Well, I had some sentences running through my brain. I was like, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. You know, the sirens. I'm thinking of that mysterious, seductive woman that is a goddess, and how she, being a seductive female, we can never really touch, we can never really control. And so, does she really control us even when we're staying away from her? Her beauty is captivating, like I said, and mesmerizing and alluring. So, even if we stay away from a seductress like that, doesn't she already captivate us and control us through her beauty? You know, the mystery of her legend, the historical accounts of her beauty, her gorgeous, you know, hair, let's say, her beautiful voice that beckons out. You know, she playing a harp that puts you in a very sedate, I want to say, state of mind. Well, all beautiful women can do that. All women can do that, basically, to men in general. And it's only in the eye of the beholder. And so we revere our women ultimately, even though there might be demonic forces, there might be imps, there might be the sirens, there might be the harpies, okay? And there might be actual forces that are evil at work to control us and steal our souls. So is it just the sexuality of that seductress goddess woman, or is she just a demon? If she's just a demon, maybe it's easier to label her that, and I'm referring to the actual character, not women in general. And it's something fun to write about when you haven't written about it, and you're not going to do a full novel on it. And there's many different, I want to say, archetypes, and there's many different stereotypes of that in mythology all over the globe, that all kinds of Western sailors in particular, even the earlier nomadic Vikings and the early Africans who slowly moved north and northeast throughout the Orient, they had many wives' tales like this, and many tales that were harbingers of what may come if you pursue your lusts. So, writing Angel Eyes, it's a brief poem. I'm going to read it in regular English, and I'm going to try to read it as best I can. And it's exactly how I liked to write it, simple and to the point. If a man is pursuing his sex, if he's pursuing his lust and his lust of women all over the globe, or let's say all over, he is a worldly man, and God doesn't like that so much. I'm not so judgmental. I'm one man, okay? But I'm thinking, okay, his little rendition and his basic, I want to say, opinion about the matter, when that beautiful, mysterious lady is in his heart and soul. Most men would tell you that there is one or two in our past that we dare not touch. We dare not approach and ask out because we're so nervous and we're afraid. And not that that lady was a goddess or an evil demon. I'm not saying that. But it had that kind of hold on him where, spiritually speaking, he could not do anything. He could not move, and he was captured by her. His heart was captured by her. And theoretically, it's in his mind because he loved that beautiful woman that was just so mysterious and so foreign that he had no other choice but to love her. So that's basically why us men pursue those goddesses at times. and those queens and those princesses, excuse me, and we know they're untouchable, but we have to try. We just say hi to them. We drop a line to them. We, I don't know, ask them out on a date, and then they turn us down. So, anyways, I'm bloviating now after my morning coffee. Please forgive me. So here's Angel Eyes. I wrote, I believe, 2 years ago now, and I wrote it down on script, but I'm also going to copy and paste in the description on YouTube, and I hope people enjoy it. Thank you. Angel Eyes. They are murderous eyes upon closer gaze. They are a femme fatale's guise, in a splendid enigma in siren's maze. They mesmerize as they stab and slash, and they nab and they thrash when they hypnotize. Must I ever fear falling in love with such goddess the rest of my days? Can I make her atone from her Marquise ways? I may never know, as her eyes lit glow, and I say as I pray, in the cold and the snow, in a dungeon and frayed, is she from heaven or from the cries below? My one maiden queen with murderous eyes, an angel seen with bloody rubies and keen, to my plots with dripping love scenes, to my heart and the eyes that lied, pierced by an arrow. Is it forever I see her eyes sucking out my bones of the marrow? And may I chide that femme fatale's eyes to buy my soul back that died. That was Angel Eyes. I just was doodling one day, threw that together, and it's basically a nutshell of what I think of when I think of that possible. And mind you, we have the warlock as witches, and we have men demons too. Supposedly, theoretically, demons are asexual. There's neither male nor female. But bear with me, as a man, and the mythology that bears repeating and bears investigating and being educated about, there's always that mysticism about that one queen, that one, that one femme fatale, that one um, lady that was untouchable, and her powers drew you in, and she'd only use you for sucking out your soul. She'd use you and then discard you and kill you. Okay. But her seductive ways are basically what enticed us men throughout all our lives. Every man will tell you there's that one woman they've met in their lifetime where they knew they were untouchable, and they were so mystified by her beauty. And not that, again, not that that woman was a demon or an imp or had special super duper powers that we all would be like, wow, she's clairvoyant and she's attracted me to her and I'm drawn to her, in such a seductive way. But she is a goddess in her own right, and her beauty shows that. And that man at that time could not approach her ever because of that wall, because of that mysterious aura about her being so beautiful. And when he gets shot down, that's basically his soul being damaged. Is it completely sucked out? No, not at all. Because we heal from the loved ones that have hurt us, or people that we have admired that have hurt us, and we have healed. We heal all the time. And then there's more beautiful women, okay, or beautiful icons we see, and we hold at high regard. We hold high esteem on the pedestal. And maybe we can approach those in a different, better way. It's called experience. And most men that understand it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed Angel Eyes, and I thank you very much for this time and video together. I appreciate it. Take care and have a great day.